Now, flip it around because the women's is a whole different story.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have someone going into the French Open that is by far the overwhelming favorite. She's so good on the red clay. Clearly, she's already proven that by winning the two biggest lead-up tournaments in Madrid and Rome, beating, obviously her biggest rival, Anne Sabalenka. But Iga Swiatek, wow, she has just been so dominating on this red surface. Just your thoughts on her and the women's side.
Oh, Swiatek's incredible right now. I mean, winning Madrid in that incredible final over Sabalenka, and then winning Rome relatively easy, kind of along the way. She's won the French Open before. She's going into it as the heavy favorite, like you said. Her movement on not only the clay, she moves well all the time, but her movement is incredible. I mean, she's not someone who's 5'5". She's, more than me, she's maybe 5'10", 5'11".
She's 5'10", yeah.
5'10". I mean, she's an incredible mover. She's in perfect position for every ball that she hits. And that's what I think is the key to her success on the clay. And, if I was a betting person, which I'm not, it's Swiatek versus the field right now. And I would take her going to the French Open.
Even though she's dominating, is, in your opinion, the women's sort of game right now a little bit more interesting through the last, 6 months than the men, just because we've gotten these great rivals playing against each other more, like Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek going into the French. They've now played each other a bunch. Rybakina, look, she's also played really well too this year, but this match in Madrid was just arguably the best match of the year. And then in the finals of Rome, Iga dominated, and there's a little difference because there's no altitude in Rome, and I think the conditions suited Swiatek a little more, which is why we had the blowout. But just this match in Madrid and just overall the women, do you think that they're a little bit more interesting this year going into the French Open?
Yeah, as a sports fan, I like when there's dominance in sports by one or two individuals or one or two teams. I think that is an interesting kind of outlook on what's going on. When the Patriots were dominating football, you either loved the Patriots or you hated them, but you were going to watch and see what was going to happen. So I like that Iga and Sabalenka are creating, and Rybakina as well. The three of them are kind of separating themselves from the field, and it's making for great rivalries. It's making for some must-watch matches and finals in these events, which is great. Where the men's side, you're going into these tournaments, and it's a little bit of a free-for-all. I have no idea who's going to be in the semis and the finals. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's not. But the women, I feel like you're going into these tournaments now knowing you're going to get a really good semifinal or final at the end of the event, which makes for kind of an exciting kind of culmination of the week.
Do you, outside of Rybakina, because we know how well she can play in any tournament, I think when she's at her very, very best, I would put her equally to Iga, equally to Sabalenka, just because she has it. But unfortunately for her, she just gets these random illnesses and injuries. I mean, it's part of the game. It's why the dominance of someone like Nadal at the French Open, or just even Novak and Rafa in general, their ability to be able to, the longevity of not getting, sick and injuries and things. I mean, but Rybakina, you have to put her in that category. But what about, is there any other contenders out there in the women's that also sort of, we have to talk about Coco, like throw a few more people out there that you think are interesting to watch going into the French?
Right. Interesting to watch, and could win it or can make a run to the final if weird things happen. But yes, Coco obviously has won the U.S. Open. She's a Grand Slam champion. She's got a big game. She can make a run. Danielle Collins right now, winning Miami, winning Charleston, semi-finaling in Rome last week. She's a fighter. She's exciting to watch. Those two particular girls, I think, are the two to keep your eye on. But what about, you have a better understanding of the women's game than I do. Who else is on that list with them?
Yeah, I agree. I think Maria Sakkari certainly has had a little bit of a better year. I mean, we've got former champions in the draw as well. The women's game for me is, as you said, because of the rivalries and the interest, and we've had so many Grand Slam winners over the last couple of years, there's some big names in the draw that we haven't even spoken about. So we cannot wait. Of course, then they're going to all flip around and play the Olympics not soon long after that, right, at the same place. So it's going to be really interesting. It's very different when you represent your country. The nerves are different, but individually, they're all going to be there in Paris. And we cannot wait to continue to bring them all to you.